Hi, good morning. Hey, how are you? Popping up here for a quick mini training on how do you get it all done and stay on purpose. So one of the things I've heard a lot lately as been in conversations is how do I get it all done? How do I do it when my schedule feels all over the place? How do I not get distracted? So feeling, you know, I knew what I was setting out to do, and then I ended up doing this, this, and this. Or how do I even, what if I don't even know what to do because I don't even know where I'm going or what to do? So, I thought I had a purpose, but I didn't know it as well as I thought. Like, I actually don't know what to do next. And so those are big questions and questions that when I realize I'm feeling, lost or life is chaotic or I feel like I'm pulled, I feel like I'm out of control, those are kind of the things that I tune into to say, oh, that's kind of what I'm feeling. I'm not feeling like I'm in control of my life. So I don't feel like I'm on purpose because I can't do anything about it. So what do you do? What can you do? And that is a big reason why because if you've been tuning into the group, you've been hearing that I have been trying to develop a better morning routine. Hello. If you're watching, say hi. Hi, Amanda. And if you're watching the replay, drop a replay in the comments. I want to know you're here. But so this is what I've been doing is taking apart some of that foundations of my life because I realized I'm trying to tug and pull things here and there when some of the foundation of my focus wasn't right. Everything was building on maybe the wrong thing. And so this is what we call in writing, in your story, it's called the messy middle. And I always use writing analogies because I loved writing novels when I was little and I learned a lot from that experience. And when I was writing a book, I could start with the beginning, and I heard of these authors that were kind of like, oh, I'm just gonna, see where the story ends up. And I think there's some story writers that do that well. Other people plot every stage of the story. But what I realized is you kind of have two ends. And if you have this messy, sagging middle, you can't just like push up the middle chaoses and pull it up. If you pull it up here, it kind of, is floppy over here. And so what I realized when I was writing my novel is that I had to actually kind of pull on both ends to tighten everything up, to streamline it, to simplify it. So at the beginning, I had to make my beginning stronger. And that included, it wasn't just the setting and where it was and all of that. It was knowing, okay, who is my character? Who is she? What is she all about? And what does she want that she would go to the ends of the earth to go? And so sometimes what she wanted was one thing and something got in the way and she had to figure out, did she really want it that bad that she was going to get off her butt and do the uncomfortable, weird, not normal thing to move past this obstacle to get what she really wanted? It was a test of, did she really want this? And so when I was writing my book, I'm like, okay, because I kind of had the ending plotted out too, and I knew the different things that I wanted to happen. But I realized as we were going through, I was just letting life happen to her. And she didn't have a huge sense of purpose in the sense of that story. And that story can be that it was a desire, and what we call it is as a two-tier desire. So you kind of, I want to, for my story, she just wanted to live a nice life on her family farm and didn't really want change happening in her life. And then her parents up and leave, and she has this choice. She's got to take up the farm on her own, or they're going to sell it. And so, they leave to go on this big overseas trip. And so, I had to wrestle with, okay, what are her big desires? But why is that? Why? That's when I realized, oh, she doesn't really like change. She wants to be in control of everything. She wants that security. If everybody's in their place doing the right thing, and then life is okay. And I had to dig down into her personality. She, I made her kind of quirky and fun, but she's also a little bit rebellious. And, I had all these cool character traits that set her apart. But I actually had to dig down to figure out what is it that she really wanted. And so that was the one thing that made the stronger, the tighter, because the beginning tighter. So when she was setting on, what does she want for her life? What does she want for this next season of her story? How do I make the beginning so strong and tight that she knows what it wants? And that's the question that I hear some of you asking. And it's embedded, maybe you're not asking it clearly, but it's embedded in, how do I get all this stuff done in my day? How do I cram it in? My list is this big. I'm doing all of this stuff. And how do I prioritize it? Right? Some of the things that I actually don't hear talked about very much is, how do you deal with conflicting goals? Right? So say you're a mom and your mission is to have your house clean, tidy, so you have some sense of sanity, and you want your kids to be responsible and make their own lunches, or you want them to, increase their responsibility. So you got to do all this parenting to do that. But on the other side, you have this, your business or your other responsibilities. You're responsible to other people, and they have demands on your life. And so you're trying to juggle that. And then, well, you got to live. So you got to make meals and do your laundry and those kinds of things. And if one of those gets out of piece, and if you pack it so tightly, one of those things goes out of place, life unravels, right? And so that's what I hear when people are saying, well, I wanted to write a book one day, or I wanted to start a blog one day, or I really liked, doing this, or feeling creative about this, but I don't really do it anymore because blah, 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 blah. And it's these competing stories. And sometimes there's seasons of our life, right? And we put something on the shelf because you're like, you know what? I know that's going to take too much out of me, so I'm not going to do it. But there's this other thing. What if you've already stepped out and you've committed and you're building a business, or you are stepping into school and you are almost done and you've got exams and you're committed? This is part of your journey, but it weighs on you. How do you do that? So that first part would be to tap into, what is your big goal? So one of that is, there's the two things. What is your desire and who's your character? So who are you? And that can be as simple as, okay, this is how I'm wired, this is how I'm built, and I'm trying to fit a round peg in a square hole. So it could be as simple as, I'm trying to do it somebody else's way. What the heck am I doing? Why not? Okay, what are the other options for how I can approach what my goal is? Another thing is, realizing, who am I? And why are you doing this? Maybe you're doing all of these things for the wrong reasons. This creep happens, right? So you start out with some goals of your parenting, and then your kids get older and you're at a new stage, and there's a more relief thing to let them, live their life, right? There's this, how do I do an angle here? The more older they get, the more you're releasing somebody. The more you train, your team, the more you are meant to release responsibility to them to replace yourself. What is that thing that you don't need to do that they can do? So some of it is, who am I? What is it only that I can do? And what am I just holding on to because I want the control of it, or I want it just done right, or I want to, this. And it's just the way we've always been, and it's changed, and we haven't taken the time to think it through. So that's the other thing you can ask. Why is it that you're holding on to something? Why is it that you're trying to get everything done? And be real with yourself. Is it because you might find, and keep asking yourself that, why is this important? So why is that important to me? Because what you'll find is that reason, that desire that's driving you to do it. And when you can flesh out what that desire is, it either opens up way more possibilities, So for me, I realize a lot of the things that I do is for peace and for freedom. It's for fulfillment as well, but I get stressed out if our kitchen is not clean at night or something is all out of whack because I want peace. And that peace comes in orderliness for me. It comes in a sense of, maybe this, and this are unpredictable and I have to meet their standards, but this is the space that I want to have peace because I can be fully me. It's where I can be at rest. And so realizing that made it different in how I could prioritize my day of fitting it in. It wasn't just a task on my list. Okay, I want to make sure the kitchen's clean before I go to bed at night, or I want to make sure this is done, this is done. It's knowing, okay, what is it I really desire here and how important that is. If it's just a task on my list, then who cares? But if that piece of getting up in the morning for, say a nice tidy house, or knowing that, say, laundry day is on Saturday and, I really want to do this, this, and this. I've been working hard all week and I really just want to relax. So I'm going to, top off my week, make it a little bit crazier and do laundry another day so that I can actually have these few hours to sit and relax and just enjoy and do something for me. Or so it's finding out what is your desire, and what is that desire for your week? What is that desire for your day? What is it that is really important to you? What is that desire for, and then think long term. You can go 5 years. What is your desire for 5 years? And how much of these goals all complement that, inspire that, or distract you from that? How much of them are prompting you to be someone you aren't? So that's one area is pulling the, from, you can pull the one end, the beginning of your story and who you are and what you desire, and checking in with that, what's really important to you. And then the other side is pulling the other end, right? And that's kind of what I was talking about, is journeying to where you want to end up. What direction are you going? What do you want? And don't just ask the question of, well, what does God want for me? Because he's planted a lot of those desires in you, and he's probably already put what he wants in your heart. But it's been cluttered with your past. It's been cluttered with what life looked like before. It's been cluttered with ideas of how other people are doing. And it's cluttered. And then there's this big void of, well, I don't know what I don't know yet, right? And so it's important to actually think through, what is my end? And what if I choose this direction? What would my path look like? If it's just making a decision, this is the direction I'm going to go until someone tells me otherwise, until, so if God is the one that is guiding your life and you tune into that, and that's very important to you, then it's like, okay, God, you've placed these desires and this is what I'm going to head for, and I'm going to find these strategies. Because if you don't pick one direction, you aren't going anywhere. As soon as you come to the crossroads, you can't make a decision because or you can just make any decision because any direction is going to be okay. So you have to find out what direction and land on it to figure out, this is where I want to be in 5 years, so that, because that's going to dictate, okay, these are the commitments, these are the priorities that I need to shift. And sometimes where you're headed, you don't have enough motivation to prioritize all of those demands, say if they're coming from other people, whether it's your job or your volunteer commitments or your church or your family or your extended family or travel commitments you made, your sports schedule, your business, or the business packages you have going on. Maybe you just have too much going on. When you know where you're going, and you've decided, no, in 5 years, in 3 years, this is what I really want my life to look like. And we can take winding paths. We don't always take a straight line there. Life happens, curveballs happen. My life has been full of them. Life doesn't always turn out the way you expect, but it definitely isn't going to move towards that direction, or you're not going to be shaped as much into the person you want to be if you don't have that destination in mind. So today, what is it that you need to do most? Do you need to camp on who you are, who you're not, and what you truly desire, and really dig into that? Or do you need to just decide and choose where is it you're heading? How, not how you're going to get there yet. Because first you need to decide where is it that you're heading? Where do you want to be? Who is it that you want to be on that destination? Pick a time in there and imagine what you want your life to look like if you had all the choice in the world. Because God is a God of abundance. He gave us that dream to have a full life. And sometimes we think it's full of stuff and success. I'm telling you, purpose is way more than that. It's not just about that, but those dreams are a part of it. Those things that are placed inside of you, those opportunities you have for networking, all of those are a part of filling your purpose. But you have to pick a destination of where you're headed for, or you won't go anywhere. You won't have that motivation to get up out of bed or do something that is uncomfortable or takes extra effort, or it's going to take commitment and trying over and over to master it. The only way you'll master a habit or a new skill or pushing through more years of school when it's crowding your schedule and maybe it's not fully your thing is by knowing this is where I'm headed, this is where I'm going, and this is where I feel called to, and therefore this is the, then you can figure out how am I going to get there. But when you're that solid on this is where you're going and who you are, you have this simplified you've simplified how to prioritize the things that stay in your life, the things that go, the things that you can let go of. You have something bigger than yourself, something greater than the to-do list to prioritize everything and handle the goals that conflict. So it's my challenge. Answer those questions for today, if that's all you can handle, for this season. So where do you want to be from now till the end of summer? What do you want that season to look like for your life? And then, a year from now and 3 years from now, what are those questions you can answer for yourself? So I would love to hear. I know those can be deep questions to think about, but as you're watching the video, just drop the number. Are you at the beginning? Is that the question you need to answer? Is it, so drop in the comments if you're watching this. Do you need to ask those questions about who you are? Because something feels off, like you're not able to be fully who you are in that. Is it what you desire? You're feeling like life and your priorities and all the things that you've committed to just don't line up to what you really want. Everything's clashing. Or is it that you don't fully know where you're headed and you're not sure how to plan to get there? So it's the climax of your story, that celebration, like I have arrived, I made it because this is where I was going and this is what it looks like, that climax of the story where the story is resolved, things come together, and you close that book with this like, oh, that was a good story. So drop those in the comments. I really want to hear what you have to say. All right, have a great day.